Summer can be a stressful time for parents. School's out, and the loss of student nutrition programs, along with those rising grocery costs, can push some families to rely on food banks. In fact, almost 700,000 children in Canada rely on food banks every month. And Foodbanks Canada suggests that roughly 1 in 3 people who rely on these services, they're children. So to help combat those numbers, the nonprofit is launching a new goal of sharing over 200,000 healthy food packs in communities across the country. And here to discuss is Foodbanks Canada CEO Kirstin Beardsley. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
When you look at these numbers, when it comes to food insecurity, it's daunting and it's concerning. So let's start there with the picture, and especially when it comes to children. What have you been seeing?
Well, what we've been seeing is the highest level of food bank use ever in Canadian history. So we'll start there with the food banks having to meet this impossible level of demand. And then you think of kids who should be having, adventures with their friends over the summer months, and instead are worrying about where their next meal is coming from. And, none of us want that for the kids across the country. Their potential, their futures lie in the wake of this food insecurity crisis that we're all experiencing.
And so many children do rely on the school nutrition programs. They don't have the time or perhaps the funds, as we spoke about in those numbers, to be able to have that healthy meal to start the day. If they're not in school, where are they going to be able to get it? Again, a lot of kids can't afford to go to the camps where they would be serving these sorts of things. And this is where you're coming in. What is the goal you are hoping to have for this summer?
Exactly. So the summer can be a really stressful time for families. So we've got a big goal. We want to send 215,000 healthy food packs to 235 communities from coast to coast to coast, so that kids can have the summers that they need to have, so that families can know that their kids are getting the nutrition that they need.
What's in these food packs?
So they're things that kids love. They're healthy, things like oatmeal. We've got granola bars. We've got edamame and seed packs. We've got fruit squeezes, things that kids love. And then what we do is give the food banks across the country a grant, and they can go and purchase fresh food. So they add apples and oranges and snap peas. So it's a really well-rounded pack for the kids.
So how can the community help out? Because I assume you do rely on the community to lend a hand.
Absolutely. We are powered by communities right across the country. So I know that folks care about their neighbors, and especially those kids in their community going hungry. So reach out to your local food bank and ask how you can support. We're relying on the support of communities now more than ever.
Is it best for financial donations? Is it non-perishable goods? What would you be looking for?
So, we're grateful for all the support that folks can give. In general, food banks really focus on fresh and nutritious foods, and those are easier to purchase by the food bank themselves. It's easier. We've got to make sure we're handling that food safely, and we've got great deals with organizations across the country to make sure our dollars are stretched even further. So, if you have a choice to make and you're in a position to help, financial donations are always appreciated. But anyway, volunteering your time, donating food, donating funds, it's all appreciated.
Kirstin, where does the government play? What kind of role do they play, both municipal, provincial, and federal? Because there have been some investments made. Is it enough?
Well, what we're seeing, as I said, is this highest level of food bank use in Canadian history. So what we need are for governments at all levels, as you said, to step up. We need people to have enough income. The best solution is for families to have the money they need to go to the grocery store and choose what they want for themselves and their families. Food banks are there, in the meantime, but really governments need to implement public policy. And I think about this moment we're in, right? We're trying to talk about building a strong country. And when you've got 700,000 kids using a food bank every single month, how can we talk about this strong country when so many folks are experiencing food insecurity?
And they are our future.
Exactly.
If people want to help out, where's the best place to go to?
So you can go to foodbankscanada.ca, look up the After the Bell program, which is this summer program, and again, check out your local food bank and ask them how you can help.
Very important, Kirstin Beardsley. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.